Welcome back to Bison Overtime with Logan and I. We're going over the college sports and first week without NFL football.
It was bad. It was a really long week.
Oh, that was a rough Sunday.
It was devastating. I cried. I think I needed sports highlights. I was about to start going through 2004 highlights. And you had to really reach into the past. I actually worked on my playbook. It really helped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you create football plays, it kind of works as a substitution. It's like taking a Flintstones gummy when you have a fever. It's not gonna cure it, but it makes you feel better. It kind of helps. It kind of. Yeah,
helps,
it's that
yeah.
placebo effect.
Yeah,
Yeah, you might still die from the fever, but at least you had a tasty Flintstones gummy.
That's a great intro. Good job.
It's a good one. I think it's a good analogy. I think that's an analogy for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you avoid your student loans by betting on sports that you're going to lose in 8-leg parlays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crippling debt is your fever,
About 14,000, just flop.
And then your little 8-leg parlays that you're convinced are going to hit every single time that you play some.
Oh, yeah.
That's your Flintstones gummy.
It's gonna hit.
Except in this case, the Flintstone gummy sometimes hit you. Apparently, a lot of the time. How many of them have you won?
One.
8 legs.
Hey, with a 5-legger.
I asked
I've
what
hit
8 legs.
0 8-legs.
How many have you placed?
5-leg.
How many parlays have you placed total?
I counted 11 total.
1 for 11.
Parlays.
He's elite from the field, yo. He just has to be going.
Hey, on one of them, I missed by 1 point because of Missy. Missy actually pissed me off.
Yeah, I guess a 9% shooting rate would be good if it was lottery winnings. It's not good if it's a parlay where you're putting $50 in the line. That's not very good.
It's only $5-10 every 8-leg.
Then how are you down so much? What did you do?
I just deposited $500 sleeper and then 500.
Yeah, but you said you were down $240 before this episode.
Well, yeah, if you add 500 plus what sleeper matched is $1,000.
Yes.
And I have $750 now.
So how'd you disappear that much if you only did $5 a parlay?
I did $10 per 8-leg parlays.
Oh.
And 11 times 10 is $110 right there.
So where'd you lose the other 150?
Let me check. I have 4 active right now, so maybe it's in the 4 active.
Well, Vinny figures out
because I have 15, 20.
Vinny figures out how he donated so much money to the totally legal sports books. Let's actually cover sports and not sports betting for a hot second. NDSU basketball, pretty good weekend. Last weekend was perfect, 4-0. Both teams won out. This weekend, very close. The men lead it off in Oral Roberts. They win 73-60. Had to have that.
You had to have that as a
huge
Bison.
conference
I'd
win.
say this game, whoever won it, got to second place in the conference, and the men came out on top. But something to talk about from the game was that fight that outbroke after the game happened. It was a big fight, and Oral Roberts players should be suspended, but he got a bloody lip after that one.
I didn't hear about the fight. This is the first time. No, I didn't really
Unless I'm on the
game.
wrong game, but
maybe.
When
I didn't hear about a fight for either game. I watched it at the bar, kind of in the background, but it really wasn't forefront of my mind. I was more focused on the stuff I actually put money on. No offense, NDSU, but money's money, and you're not giving me any. You're asking for it.
No, you're taking money.
I need to look after my financial, recovery. But third straight win for the Bison. They shot 39% from 3. Pretty good, Can't complain about it. Defense really locked down. And that's kind of been the trend, is when the defense really steps up and they keep these teams to under 70, under 60, they really don't lose. You don't see the Bison lose many games where they keep their opponent under 75. They're always right in it.
Now when they play a good defense.
Oh, yeah. There's a little scuffle.
Yeah, it was a little scuffle at the end there. And there was some back and forth, some punches
some shoves.
Thrown.
Yeah, it looks like Oral Roberts is doing more of the shoving.
Yep.
And NDSU's doing more of the answering.
Yep, exactly. And then when we cut to this clip right here of him trying to run after the NDSU again.
Anytime you're trying to break out and chase somebody, it's not a good look. It just isn't.
The player just got tackled by his own player right there, or own teammate. That's crazy. But, yeah.
Squeak that laptop any louder? Don't. It's a joke. It's rhetorical. But then they followed that up.
To a loss to Denver,
they got all fired up.
71 to 70.
And 77. Yeah, Vinny, you were struggling already.
71 to 77.
Really ironic. The last time these two teams met, 78-70, NDSU lost, and now they lost again, 77 to 71. So really identical scores, basically. And once again, it falls into that if NDSU can't keep the team to 75 or less, they really struggle to keep up. It becomes more of like a 50-50 appeal. We don't see many games where they lose, where they play really good defense and keep the other team scoring low. As soon as it gets into a shootout, it feels much more like a coin flip. It feels much more like they're not going to win as easily. Like this team can keep up scoring-wise, but it feels like that when they need a couple more buckets to fall, they don't get them to fall.
Right.
So they like to keep that score lower.
But if you're NDSU, you really want to stretch these games to overtime because your record is 5-1 in overtime games. So if you are over that 75, push to overtime, and then you should get them. You know. But this one, NDSU falls short by 6, and another must-win game there, and they lost. So it put them to the 4th ranked in the conference from 2. Whole conference is up for grabs, really, for men's basketball. But
I just look right through quickly. They're 8-2 when they keep teams under 75. 8-2.
8-2.
Yeah, and when they don't, they are what would they be like 5-12? So this is very much a case of like if the game is low scoring, obviously the Oak Hill Christian counts as a win. But if you keep that score really low, 75 or less, their chances are really good at winning. They usually get it done, but as soon as it gets into that high shootout, you start to, like they'll keep up typically, but they don't close out as well. Right. So, and that's what you have to do going into these final games is you have to try and keep it low, try and play your brand of basketball. You know, don't get into these high shootouts because they don't do well in them, and you could secure that through 4 seed, maybe even bump up to 3 or 2.
Right. I mean, it would be really nice for the Bison to finish top 3 in the conference.
Yeah,
after
right now
a
they're
really big struggling. I'd say this is a struggling season for the Bison basketball team, but I'm not a big basketball watcher, so.
Right now they're at 4 as it stands, but they still have to play St. Thomas and South Dakota State and North Dakota. All 3 they still have to play again, who are all over them. And then they're going to get more of a freebie in South Dakota at the bottom.
So you really have to win these games out. If
you gotta have.
Genuinely win the conference.
I mean, of course you're going to want to sweep, but if you can get 2 of those 3 tough games and then the freebie in South Dakota, because all the tough ones are at home, which is perfect, and then you have to win the South Dakota game. You can't drop that freebie. I don't care if it's on the road. I don't care if it's at home. I don't care if it's in Antarctica. You have to win the game. I don't care where it's being played. Mars, here, you got to win.
For sure.
So if they win 3 of those 4, we could see them very well, take the lead. They could take the conference.
That conference is really up for grabs, and, moving on to a team that is normalizing winning in basketball is the women's, and they beat
rolling.
Oral Roberts 83 to 73, and Heaven Hamling set a record. Wait, no, it's
no,
not.
Just
it's recorded. Yeah, recorded 21 points and 5 for 7 from the 3 line. She had a day.
This felt like kind of like the first game that Heaven Hamlin really took over, and it wasn't the L. Evans show. This has been the Hamlin we've been waiting for all year, where she's elite from 3. She'll shoot up a crazy amount of threes, but it felt like she was actually surgical from 3 for once. We've seen 2 for 13, 1 for 10, 3 for 8. And it's you're making threes, but you're shooting up way too many. And this, it felt like she was extremely efficient. It's probably the best she's shot all year from 3, and it shows. That was probably the difference in this game. 10-point game. You have one of your best players shooting 5 for 7 from deep. That's big. You need those points. That's 15 extra points. If she shoots bad, maybe they tie, maybe they lose by 1 or 2. So, got to have that. That was big. And then of course they rebound the next day and they stomp a Denver team that frankly you have to stomp.
Right.
Denver's struggling. They were 4-8 in conference coming in. They beat them up 21 points at home, sent them packing, and now you're still in reach of South Dakota State, who is, of course, yet to lose in conference, but you're going to see them at the end of the year. So
it would be definitely a big game for NDSU to take one from SDSU again, and I know it was pretty close the last time they played each other, I thought, but
last time they played each other, it was they lost 65 to 58.
It's
so
a
7-point game.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep, I'd say Ella Evans has been really quiet of the last 4 games, so she hasn't been like the star player.
The only issue is you're betting on someone upsetting the Jackrabbits because they're playing St. Thomas, North Dakota, and Denver. St. Thomas is the only team that has a 500 record in conference out of those 3. The other 2 have losing records. So you need an upset. You need a rug pull. And they're on the road for 2 of those 3, so maybe. But then, of course, you have to go in and play them on the road as well.
Right.
But they have to win out. If you're NSU and you want that 1 seed, you have to win out. Mm-hmm. I mean, the 2 is basically yours at this point. Oral Roberts is 2.5 games back. You're playing a weaker slate. You're playing St. Thomas, North Dakota, South Dakota, who, like we mentioned, kind of struggling. South Dakota 7-5, St. Thomas 6-6, North Dakota 5-8. So kind of middle of the pack. Nothing special. You should be able to handle business. If you sweep those games, you have a chance. But if you don't, it's just a 2 seed.
Right.
So, barring a disaster, this is NDSU women are at least a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot less closer than the men's, where it's very much still a dogfight for those spots as we get towards the end of this conference play and into that postseason tournament play.
Yep. Talking about a tournament play, we turn over to softball, NDSU. It was kind of a rough one for NDSU when they lost to East Carolina 4-5, and then get absolutely blasted in the face by number.
Blasted. We're combining 2 words. That's how bad it was. Blasted and plastered. Good going, man. Blasted. Yeah, they got blasted. 18-0. I mean, you'll play a top 10 team. Duke's a powerhouse in almost every sport. Yeah. It's kind of to be expected, but man, you would have liked to at least get a run or 2.
Yeah.
It
was a rough one for.
Just for self-confidence.
Yeah. No self-confidence. It looked more like a football game, an ugly one. But, yeah, this is not something that you want to see coming out of Duke. But you do match that up with a win against Elon in the 8th inning after you go into extras and beat them by 1, 8-7. I mean, that was a better game, better bounce back. But after bouncing back, they go on to lose to North Carolina State 4-6 and played Elon once again, but did not turn out the way that the Bison expected. Lost to them in the extra innings 5-7 and proceeded to play 2 more games and came back and beat both of those. Campbell 7-2 and UConn 3-1. So it was a really rough weekend for the Bison when it came down to softball. I'd say you want to be a little better with scoring. You want to be more like the game that you had against Campbell or UConn. You want to score about 2 to 5 points every game to give yourself a shot. Just can't afford losing to Duke like that.
No, I mean that's frustrating. It's a new season. It's frustrating to start it that way. It's not expected that you win, but you at least want to get a couple runs to establish that sort of like confidence feeling. But apparently it didn't matter because they rebounded the next day. Like later in the week, they beat Elon 8-7 in 8 innings. Who they would see again that weekend in another 8-inning game. But yeah, I know. It's like you finished the week strong. You went 3-2. It's kind of what we saw last week, where they opened the week 0-2 and then they win 3 straight. I mean, this time they have sort of like a win-loss sandwich. You beat Elon, you lose the next 2, and then you finish out the weekend with 2 more wins. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, baseball. No win-loss sandwich, just all losses.
It was a rough one for
the baseball program here at NDSU is not nationally recognized for a reason. And it was bad. Like UC Irvine really, all those California schools have really good baseball programs, no matter what level. You see a lot of good baseball programs out there out west. Mm-hmm. No difference in Irvine. I mean, 2-14, and then of course 2-7, and then 4-10. So really bad. I mean, you lost a combined 8-31. That's not good. I don't care what sport you're in. That's not good.
Horrid.
And then their chance to rebound today against Long Beach State got canceled, so they're gonna have to wait a little bit. But young season. I mean, we said the same thing about softball. These games, at the start of the year, don't matter as much. It'd be nice to have them, of course, but if you lose a couple at the start, you're not out of it. Once you get in the conference play, then you get to kind of show what you're capable of. But we'll see. Maybe this is the year that baseball rattles it off. They'll have a chance tomorrow at Cal Poly, so maybe as they're making this sort of California trip. And then, of course, later in the week, I believe, they get another chance with Pacific.
So yeah, I mean, you get a couple good games to bounce back, hopefully, and get your season started right, and make sure that you make your adjustments for the big season to come. I'd say, yes, I agree. NDSU baseball is not as highly recognized as when it comes down to like track and field or NDSU football.
Yeah.
But
or even the basketball programs, but
right.
There is a market for it. You'd love to see them succeed a bit. Hopefully this year's different, but in years past, it's kind of been a struggling sport. So we'll see. Maybe they turn it around this year.
Hopefully they do. And I mean, what we are waiting for right now is March Madness.
Yeah, spring coming.
Spring is coming. I'd say within
April
a month.
showers may bring May flowers, but before that, the madness has to happen, baby.
Yes.
So, the big question right now, the big question is, obviously after Purdue's loss, is UConn's a favorite. UConn's unanimous number one. Are you taking UConn or are you taking the field? Because that's what it's boiling down to at this point. Till we know for sure what the path is for each team, it's basically UConn or the field.
Man, UConn is doing so good right now.
They're on a run. They're really dominating.
For sure. But I'd say UConn would be number one seed in their own bracket, but I would take the field and saying someone else would win it. But I just don't know who would take UConn down.
We haven't seen this UConn team lose since their stunner against Seton Hall back in December, mid-December.
Yeah.
Only 2 losses. The other one was to Kansas. So, this team's rattled off some wins. They rattled off a win against Creighton. They beat number 4 Marquette in a stampede. They have Creighton again tonight. That's going to be big. If they can beat Creighton again on the road, that's really going to solidify them. And then, of course, they have Villanova, Seton Hall. Hopefully Seton Hall. If Seton Hall upsets them again, that's going to say something. And then number 7 Marquette on the road for closing against Providence. So you should see this team, if they are the number 1, close out. But it starts tonight with Creighton. And then, of course, in a couple weeks, number 7 Marquette. Both big road games. You beat them both at home. So what? Can you beat them on the road? Right. And then, of course, you have to be perfect going into the March Madness. And we saw this team be perfect when they won it all. So they are capable. They've been there and they've done that. This isn't Gonzaga. This isn't like Arizona or Purdue where it's a number 1, but they haven't won it. Like, this team has done it. And while, of course, there's some turnover, you still have the same coach, a lot of the same players. So they know what they have to do. They get it. They get the sacrifice. So you just got to question if they're able to close it out. And they're going to make the tournament. They probably could lose all 5 and still make it at this point.
Yeah, it's no question that they're going to make the tournament. It's just a question of will they win it all.
Yeah, it's a question of where do they rank in at? Where do they seed at? Are they the true number 1, or are they like a 2 or 3 seed if they struggle towards the end? And then, what kind of run can they make? Can they do it again? So.
Yep.
And then this one's a good one. I like this one. St. John's coach Pitino goes after him. He described it as the most unenjoyable tenure of his career, and just an epic rant. Just can't stand it.
What?
Yes.
What happened? Tell me and the audience more.
So,
please.
After losing 77-64 in Connecticut, he said that St. John's is quote unquote not a great basketball team because they're rebuilt, and he's sick of it. He's 71 years old. Rick Pitino, he's fed up.
Yep.
Fed up. They're not good. They're extremely average, if not worse. And with each loss they're stacking up, this is a long, prestigious coach. He's getting frustrated. He said, "We're not a great shooting team. We're not a great defensive team." He says we're small, we're slow laterally, we don't shoot the ball great, we don't play great defense because of those shortcomings.
Oh my God.
He sounds like, you remember that one guy, that one football coach?
Oh,
skit,
I was gonna put that.
where
Yeah,
he's like, I got 22 excuses, 11 on my offense, 11 on my defense.
No,
that guy can't throw.
Oh my God.
We got all white receivers.
When
That's
you
Rick
said
Pitino.
that, I was like, that video just popped in my head. I'm like, yeah,
That's Rick
exactly
Pitino.
the guy.
He's called, after the loss to Seton Hall this Sunday, he's called this season the most unenjoyable experience of my lifetime. He says the team is so unathletic that we can't guard anybody without fouling.
Hey, at least it's not as bad as what it was. Whoever NDSU played.
They were
At
once
least they're not
12-4,
that
and back in January 10th, but they've only won twice since, and they're now 14-12. So they have gone 2-8. They have struggled. I mean,
yikes.
they are on just 2 of the 102 brackets, so they're basically just their chances are fading away.
Gone.
And Pitino has, this is the first year of the team. He hates it, so apparently he already hates it. Only once in his previous Division I stops has he led a team to the tournament's debut season. That came at Iona. So this is more of like you have to wait. It's a culture change. I mean, we saw this with Deion Sanders. You can't just plunge a new guy in, completely change everything and win all the time. It takes a year or two. So,
Right.
But this is the equivalent of you or I playing 2K and getting mad at our team, calling them unathletic, calling them slow, saying they're small, saying they can't rebound, saying they suck, they're overrated. That's Rick Pitino. We can have a real life example. So, I mean, the rant's amazing. Like, I haven't even listened to it like fully, but it's amazing. Like, just all the clips, all the sound bites, the quotes are just perfect. Like, this is infamous. This is like the old clip of like the NFL coach going, playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs? But this is better. We finally got the coach skit of like 22 excuses.
No, I have 22. No, I have 32.
Our quarterback's like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. He keeps donating the ball with.
Our head coach is making plays, calling plays from Madden.
Our O-line's like TSA. They just let anybody through. That's basically what it is. That's what he did. Yep. He called the team short, slow, and unathletic, can't shoot, can't rebound. Like, he basically described Oak Hill's Christian.
Exactly.
But I think just a perfect sound clip. Just a great way to end it.
I mean, this would ultimately hopefully not create a brawl in the locker room. I mean,
it could. Those are fighting words.
They were fighting words.
We had some fights. I mean, NDSU, as we laid out earlier against Oral Roberts, but then A&M Commerce versus Incarnate Word. Texas A&M, I don't know who started it. Neither side was having it, but just full on. I think that was worse. Actual punches were being thrown.
Sheesh.
So we'll see where the suspensions fall, but not good. I mean, we're seeing this is the tensest part of the season. Everybody's in crunch time if you have any chance. So every loss feels worse. Mm-hmm. But fisticuffs, I don't know. So not a good look.
Nope.
I'm sure the Southland Conference already come out. They've already basically attacked the whole thing. We'll see where the suspensions and fines lie, but it is what it is. And then of course Arizona extended their coach's contract through 2028, 29. No surprise, Arizona's been a powerhouse the last couple of years. They've been dominant. They haven't been able to really make the runs in March Madness you want. They get good runs, but not all the way, if my memory serves right. But dominant, especially offensively. And then of course, speaking of another dominant team, Purdue lost again to Ohio State. Of course,
I mean, it is Ohio State, but at the same time,
you want to know why they
not.
lost? I bet on them.
Yeah.
I bet on them at halftime.
Every time.
I'm sorry, Purdue was my fault.
I swear. Anytime you want to bet on someone, they will lose.
I think I did against Northwestern, too, or Nebraska. One of the other games.
They will sell.
They don't win my bets.
They will sell on you because you bet on them. That's exactly why.
This is a bad loss for them.
It's just like when you're playing blackjack, right? You're betting green chips, and then you put on a $5 table minimum, and you get dealt a blackjack. It's just inevitable. Like, I don't know.
Vinny with his blackjack example. But yeah, no, Purdue's struggling again. This team has struggled to beat some teams throughout the year. I mean, we saw a close game against Minnesota. We saw them struggle to beat Wisconsin, Rutgers. The Big Ten's always kind of this rock fight, but you still have to play Illinois, who's right now ranked number 12. You're going to have to play Wisconsin right after that. who was just ranked top 25. They've struggled a bit, but they might make it right back in those rankings. And then, of course, you have 2 dogfights in Michigan and Michigan State before that. So, you have to close out strong. You can't keep losing.
Right. I would say they
Purdue doesn't shoot well. They're not a three-point shooting team. They're not like these other teams. They rely very much on old-school basketball. So maybe it'll work, but we saw them get embarrassed by, what, was it St. Peter's last year?
St. Peter's, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Are they contenders or pretenders?
You have to establish confidence, and right now I think they're more pretender than contender. They feel more like Gonzaga than UConn to me.
Yep.
They really do.
I would say they are more pretenders than contenders, but yeah.
They feel much more like a team that's going to get bounced. Be it second round, Sweet 16, maybe an Elite 8, but they don't feel like a team that you could safely bet on going all the way. They just don't.
Nope.
They don't shoot from 3 a lot. If Zach Edey gets locked up, the team falls apart, really. And
like
Eddie's looked more human as of late. Yeah, basically. The NDSU team without L. Evans.
Yep.
Why do you call her Ellie? It's L.
I don't know.
Hey, you gotta learn people's names, dog. You're killing us out here.
My name pronunciation is pretty bad.
That was rough. You.
Sorry.
Bro, just had to restart.
Yeah.
You just gave us a shining example.
I had to reprogram, rebooting.
Oh, yeah, the new update's still installed? Yeah, no, I've been there, man. I've been there.
I might have listened to Joe Biden too much. And now I'm talking about him.
You can't do that. It's not good for you. Not good for you. All right. Finally, back to our favorite sport, NFL news.
Something that's not good is...
That's your transition?
Yeah. Some people died.
I'm going to
die.
I'm going to take it away from Vinny.
All right.
They released the 2 names, or the 2 adults' names, charged with murder in the Chiefs parade shooting. Not good. Not a good event. Of course, it's going to reignite the whole gun debate. But regardless of where you stand, it's just disgusting. They haven't released... I don't know if they've released photos at all. Let me see.
Anyway, while he is looking up that, going away from murder and stuff, a little less dramatic, but 10-time Pro Bowler Matt Slater from the New England Patriots has decided to hang the jerseys up, and he is retiring from the NFL. He was a stud special teams guy, and I wish nothing but the best for him. He was great for New England, and I would say great player on special teams. Reminds me of Devin Hester. Devin Hester, yep.
So what's great about this story is they won't release the photos. And if you know anything about mass shooters, they release a photo immediately. So we have names. Dominic Miller and Lindell Mays are both charged with second-degree murder, 2 counts of armed criminal action and unlawful use of a weapon. They both have been hospitalized since the shooting, both being held on $1 million bond each, but they're technically juveniles. They're being tried as adults. We haven't seen any photos of them at all, which makes me go to think that this feels like a narrative thing, because it feels like the news now plays this sort of narrative game where if it fits, they'll throw the photos right away. I wish they wouldn't. I'm sick and tired of it. Either show the photos or don't. But there's a lot of confusion around this. I think they originally arrested a guy who had nothing to do with the shooting. Sahil Omar, I believe is his name. His photo was going around. He's not being charged, so I don't know if they've been dismissed on charges or what. But the 2, Miller and Mays, didn't know each other before the shooting. And there were among several people arguing Mays pulled his handgun first almost immediately. Several others did the same. But police say that Miller's gun fired the shot that killed. So this feels like, basically just a stupid, pointless gang war in the middle of a parade where frustrations brew over it. Now people start shooting each other. So
yeah, just
and then
keep it
everyone gets caught in the crossfire because it's a massive parade. So and these guys. Typically, these gang fights, they're not very accurate. Like they're really not good aim.
It's just like
they just
the
kind
clones in Star Wars.
It's rough. Like they just kind of fling shots everywhere, and like we've seen this in other cases, like Chicago or other cities, where they have these gang fights and people get caught in the crossfire because they can't aim. So it's just dumb. It's completely stupid. I hope they both get charged. I wish they would
for life.
Decide if they're going to actually start releasing the photos of every single suspect or none. Because stop playing this middle game. It's ridiculous. It feels like almost like they're afraid to release it because it's going to push a stereotype at a point.
Are we talking about people dying here, or are we talking about the news wanting to reveal some people's faces or not? This is the more important matter to face right now.
I mean, yeah. You just hope they get justice, but it is frustrating because there's been so much confusion around this that usually it should be more open shut than it is. I mean, we're here a week out, and people are still out trying to get details about it. So, and then, of course, it brings into question the future of just parades in general. Like, are they even safe to keep being held? They should be, but, like, at this point, what do you do? And then everyone's blaming it on guns, but I think at this point, I think it's more just, like, mental health and just, like, straight up just mindset of
not
people.
Being in gangs and stuff.
Because, yeah, like 40, 50 years ago, this just didn't happen at all. So I think it's got to be a culture change and like a mental health change more than anything. Mm-hmm. What are you messing with stuff again?
No, it just fell, alright?
Okay.
Calm down.
Right. Vinny's messing with stuff again, bud.
Not this fell, guys.
Yeah, you messed with that last episode. Put it back.
True. I will put it back. Yeah,
Just give me a second. So yeah, that's kind of the dull note of the season. As many jokes we make about hating the Chiefs, obviously none of us want that at all.
I mean, there's one thing about hating a whole NFL
team. It's all fun and games until someone
gets hurt, and
we don't want anyone to actually get hurt.
Yeah, and
it's all in jest. So
when it comes down to people's lives, it's just not.
It's just
something
senseless.
to play with. That's
really all it is. It's just senseless. From what it sounds like, it just sounds like gangs or people just carrying around guns who get too heated. Probably like you said, gang members. If I had to take a guess. But we'll find out in due time. But of course, you already kind of covered this. Matthew Slater retired. Mike Davis also retiring. Mm-hmm. And then the funny news of the week for NFL,
a little bit lighter hearted.
Yeah, we gotta bring the mood back up. Jimmy Garoppolo. Of all the players to get a PED violation, Jimmy G, the guy who can't throw 20 yards, got a PED violation. People are coming out saying immediately that it's for his calf muscle, so his calves look good. Of course, Jimmy's first response is, well, actually, it's medication that I need, because you know how stupid the PED rules are. They're so massive. I mean, this isn't like you can't take these 3 drugs. Like, it's expansive.
You can't take this.
So maybe he's right, but like, it's Jimmy G.
Maybe
he was trying to throw like further than the average quarterback, for once in his life.
The ads where it's like, yeah, you should take this medication.
And then they do all the side effects.
It just spin out side effects.
The ones that always give me a kick, they were like, yeah, this will heal like your stomach pains. And it's like, may cause stomach pains, death, throw-ups, dying, cancer. I'm like, no, I don't want it anymore. Like, I'll just deal with it. But, yeah, maybe that's what Jimmy G went through, but I don't know. PED rules are weird. I don't even know where he's going. Is he still with?
He's with the Raiders.
Raiders still?
I thought, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be a quarterback in the league much longer. He's kind of flopped.
I mean, speaking of quarterbacks, you want to go into
who have flopped.
Yeah, I mean,
AJ
we could do that, or we could talk about a NFL draft simulator right now. But
we'll wait. I said last week we gotta wait till we get more stuff.
Till we get to this week, and then this week happened, and he's like, "Oh."
No, I said maybe next week. We'll do it later.
Addie, what did he say?
She doesn't know.
She doesn't remember.
Why do you always gotta like put her on the spot to side against me? What is it, huh? Was it undisputed?
Yeah, this is undisputed.
It is?
Because your takes last week were actually horrid.
They were great takes. They were great takes.
I don't even think he should be on the right side because all his takes last week was so wrong. I was going to put him in the left side.
They polled the country. They found that 5% more people watched the Usher concert than Beyonce. You want to know why? Because they didn't get bored halfway through and fall asleep on their... Or Rihanna. You know what I meant. It's been a long day.
This guy
Relax.
guy.
It's been a long.
Confusing
Like you
Beyonce.
haven't ever butchered a name, really.
No, it's
this
not.
is rich.
No, it's not.
This is rich coming from you. This is rich. Look, guys,
not-
Vinny Anderson, the guy who never messes up anyone's name ever. You tell the people at home. When's the last time you mispronounced a name? Oh, you
Just
haven't.
today.
Yeah, right. Exactly. My bad. I said
But it's
the wrong
not
name.
even mispronouncing the name. It was mixing up two different people. I didn't butcher. I can
Vinny,
butcher names all I
Vinny,
want.
you make new people out of the names that you say. I don't even know who these people are. Watching you try to pronounce hockey players' names earlier before the show, golden. We need to have a dedicated segment where Vinny tries to say hockey names. Just
No,
that. I'll pull it up. I'll pull up like a random hockey name
don't
generator.
do it.
I can.
Don't do
That
it.
would be great content.
That would be
Let's not do an
terrible.
NFL draft sim. Let's have you say tough to say hockey names. Yeah. How confident are you in those Eastern European names, Vinny?
Not confident
Not
at
really.
all.
No, you're not.
You think I have trouble pronouncing Elle Evans. I call her Ellie Evans. You know, that's a very easy name to say. We're not doing a segment on this, but going off of NFL, there is UFL news. Former NFL quarterback AJ McCarron signs with the Ballhawks.
McCarron.
See right there.
McCarron.
You can do it. Put a counter. You can put a counter, right?
I'm not putting a counter. It's going to be too
there
high.
on the amount of
No.
names that I butcher.
I'm not doing
in
it. It's
this
going to be
show.
too high. I can't do it.
But he signs with the Ballhawks. The official
Battlehawks. Who. What? I like St. Louis. It's my team. I gotta be invested for the next 2 months. I gotta be invested during the spring. Nothing goes on in the NFL till free agency.
That's true.
Gotta choose some
What,
team.
official game ball or official? Oh man.
Yeah,
Yep.
their official game ball.
The official game ball and the 2024 season has been released.
They're gonna kick off on March 30th. I forget who starts. I believe it's Houston and Arlington, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. It's gonna be interesting. DC's still in it, thankfully, after their Lemon Gate and their Bottle Snakes. I think they convinced people that they deserved to be in it. The Lemon Gate was great. Bottle Snake, I mean, it was perfect. It just, if you don't know what Lemon Gate is, go look it up. It's such a great video. They threw lemons on the field. Oh, such a good time.
The first
Golden.
game of the UFL schedule is the Birmingham Stallions at the Arlington Renegades at 1 p.m.
So I was half right.
So, yeah.
Better than not right at all. You and your
50%.
Rihanna takes.
Finally, well, way to not confuse Beyonce and Rihanna that time. Good job. I'm
There you
proud
go.
of you. You made
Pronounce
it
that
possible.
hockey player's name.
Oh my God. Pat Fonte.
Pat LaFontaine. There you go.
Hey, see? I got you. All right. Anyway, turning into NBA news because we're out of the best sport segment and onto a
Yeah, we're out of America's true favorite sport and the one that pretends to be its favorite because, you know, the kids are getting concussions or something like that. So let's let them play a soft sport. But anyways, take it away.
Nets named Kevin Ollie as an interim head coach, replaces
Jacques Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
And
Anytime you see like that, Jacques Cousteau.
Anyway,
Big Minnesota news, though.
big Minnesota news. Mike Conley agrees to an expansion with the T-Wolves.
Extension, not expansion. Vinny,
I said extension.
you said expansion. I'm going back and editing. Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mike Conley's
You
gonna
don't wanna help me out
Mike
with
Conley's gonna expand with the T-Wolves.
Woo!
No, he's not. He's gonna extend. And then, of course, the big All-Star Game weekend. Damian Lillard got it done.
Got it.
I mean, it was Dame time. You know, it may have been.
I thought it was Towns time.
It
to
may have
shine,
been
but
like February, 17th and 18th, but it was Dame time.
it was-
Let's be honest. For many of us, it was weekend time, but it was actually Dame time. When he won the three-point contest, barely took it to the last
Barely.
basketball
Yep.
to beat Trae Young, and then he wins All-Star MVP. The East dominates the West. Really don't care about the All-Star game. It's the same thing as a Pro Bowl. It needs something, you know.
It needs a little
But
flair.
what really saddens me is how bad the dunk contest has gotten. It's gotten bad. I mean, Mac McClung invented a dunk did a dunk no one's ever done before. Throws it up, catches himself, reverse dunks it. Like, throws up to himself midair, catches it, and then dunks it. Never been done. Like, he did one of these and then dunked it.
Mm-hmm.
Never been done. Doesn't score 50. Scores like a 47.
Bruh.
I was like, are you kidding me? So whoever these old judge guys are, they're terrible. They're horrific. They're like, back in my day, we used to do a windmill tomahawk, and that was a 50. Okay, old timer, get off the stage. Like, also, let's stop dragging out Mac McClung once a year just for him to be like in the dunk contest, and then throw him right back to the G League. But Jaylen Brown was just bad. Twitter flamed Jaylen Brown. Did you see this at all? Did you see any of it? No.
That's
Bad.
the NBA. I don't.
Oh, it was disgusting.
It was bad.
The most boring dunks I've ever seen. I mean, we're talking like you put a glove on and did a one-handed dunk with a glove. Yeah, it was dumb. And then he dunks over Kai Cenat, who's already not very tall. He's like, what, 5'2", 5'3"?
Yep.
Sitting down.
What? Dude,
Yes.
the hoop is 10 feet tall.
Kai's sitting down, and he jumps over him for his dunk. Jaime Jaquez dunks over Shaq. McClung does a new dunk we've never seen. Like, where's like the old days of Blake Griffin dunking over the car or Aaron Gordon dunking over a mascot? You know, actual stunts. Like, who let Jaylen Brown in? So everybody, universally, Instagram, Snapchat, I'm sure, Twitter, everywhere you looked, even Facebook, I'm sure, hated him. Couldn't stand. They're like, who let this guy in? Like, it was bad. NBA Twitter is the most united I've ever seen. It was like more united. It might have been more united than like the NFL Twitter hate against like the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah, with all the edits, it may have been more united. It was pretty close.
Huh.
So, Jaylen Brown, you're no one's favorite player after this weekend. You know, don't ever come back to the dunk contest until you can actually, I don't know, jump and dunk, like actually do something cool. But they need more creativity. It feels like it's getting stale. It's just the whole weekend. I don't know. But the one cool event that they did do, which, you know, I thought was kind of cheesy, which was Steph versus Sabrina, and Steph won. Emoted her on the end. Wild. He hits it like the three and he starts boogieing. I was like, oh my god. He like hits a three and he gets up. He's just like, I was like, bro, playing Fortnite. You can't dance on him at the end. Like, what? Hits her with a little bit of woo. Wild.
Wild, Steph. Wild.
What's crazy, though, is that Sabrina outshot pretty much everybody from the three-point contest.
Really?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I mean, she used a women's basketball, which I guess is an asterisk, but she did shoot from the NBA line. So, I don't know. They got to get together. But it was great seeing all the edits of all the WNBA fans, you know, that they interviewed before, like saying, who do you think's going to win? They all pick Sabrina. It's like, come on, guys. It's Steph Curry.
It's Steph Curry.
It's the greatest shooter walking the planet. Now, if she was going against, let's say, Trae Young or someone else, you know, a good shooter but not the best, yeah, you would have a point to bet on her and say she's going to win. But, you know, this is like taking, like, someone against Mike Tyson. It's just the greatest. It's like, I guess you could for your bets, but yeah.
But it's like...
That's why they're the best.
It's like placing
an
like parlay. It's just not going to hit. I'm
This
sorry.
is like taking someone to be to be in more commercials than Shaq. It's just not going to happen.
Patrick Mahomes.
Or Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, it's just not going to happen. It's like challenging Brett Favre to a rocket arm competition back in the day. You're not going to win.
Nope.
Like, he went to a whole different country, and their best player couldn't catch anything he threw.
Damn.
Yeah, he went to Japan. Their best receiver, balls are going right off his hands, and he's shaking his hands.
Oh, my hand, my poor hand.
It was kind of cool. Maybe they'll do something like that. I don't think they can do the same thing every year. It's going to feel like Gronk's kick of destiny otherwise. Which let's not even get started on that again. But then, of course, you want to take NHL news? Because you were asking a lot of NHL questions today. Or you want me to?
I mean, I will mention one thing about the NHL, and you can take the rest of them.
God.
Insanely high-scoring games this past week. With the my Minnesota Wild topping the Canucks 10-7.
5 goals in 5 minutes.
Dude, that whole third period, it felt like we were watching an NFL game. We saw a touchdown being scored with the Wild. And, like, granted, yes, there was 3 open nets, but three hat tricks by the Wild. That is insane. Like, mind-blowing. And then also not mind-blowing is the Islanders choking to the Rangers in a loss 5-6 in overtime. And Logan is in shambles because he placed a bet probably and lost it. Yep.
Yeah, it took Islanders to win, and then Islanders to win by 2 goals. And guess who was winning by 3 goals and then 2 goals and decided in the last 5 minutes, who needs a lead? Blew it all, couldn't even win. Ridiculous. So I hate the Islanders.
Ridiculous.
You're my least favorite sport. Like the whole city of New York could just go, gone. I'd be fine. The Islanders shouldn't be a team anymore. They should get rid of them. Sweep them off the map. Move them to Wisconsin.
Just blow up New York.
You don't deserve New York. The Rangers own New York, and you don't. So
Dang.
how about you move to Wisconsin?
Crazy.
So, but, I mean, if you wanted to convince non-hockey fans to be fans of hockey, you show them those games. You show them Wild Canucks. You show them Islanders, Rangers. I mean, hockey's an electric sport. I don't know how it's not more.
With some fighting going on, you know.
Yeah, and it's like one of the cheapest sports to watch. Like,
Yep.
I have ESPN Plus. It covers like almost all of the games.
$13
And it's
a month-ish.
Like 12.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
It's so cheap.
And then it's, you know, you can also watch all your college sports on there. So even if you don't want to watch hockey all the time, you watch other stuff. Whereas all these other ones are like, you must buy only our sport. Only us. You can only watch us. You can only watch NBA. You can only watch NFL. God forbid the NFL. I hate that. $100 a month. Ridiculous.
NFL Plus, yeah. It's crazy.
No, for Sunday Ticket through
No.
YouTube. It's terrible.
It's Sunday Ticket.
So painful to be an out-of-market fan.
It
It hurts.
It's pretty bad.
At this point, I might as well just go to the games, like in person. Might as well just fly there. Ridiculous. God, I'll just listen on the radio, like the old days. I'll boot up Westwood One. Terrible.
All right,
but
you got the rest of
Other
news.
NHL news: Red Wings Michael Rasmussen signs a 4-year, $12.8 million extension. Red Wings, you know, trying to make a playoff push, trying to keep their team together. Lanny McDonald, we had this story a couple weeks ago where he went to the hospital. He's back out of it after his cardiac event. We love to hear that. Some good news. Always love a good recovery. And then, big player being honored in Jaromir Jagr. The Penguins raised his number 68 jersey and then proceeded to lose that game. Is it like a jinx to commence somebody at your game? Because I feel like we're seeing this more like where you commence someone, you raise a jersey or a banner, and then you lose the game. Is it almost like motivation for the other team to be like, let's spoil it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
like maybe just
it
messes up
probably
the
is
energy.
because Tom Brady got that in the middle of the Eagles game, and then the Patriots ended up losing that one. I don't know.
I remember the most infamous one for Green Bay was when they had Brett Favre and Bart Starr on the field at halftime. Massive. Like never before seen. And I think the Packers almost blew that game. I think that was the one where Rodgers got hurt and he came back. I don't remember. Maybe they lost it. But
yeah, I don't know. I think it could be a
it feels
jinx
like it
for sure.
messes. Yeah, it's almost like a jinx in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be. I don't know. It's a. If you want to honor it, I think like when they did Kobe's not too long ago, and that was in NBA, but like they didn't do it in the middle of a game. Their team's fine. Like if you want to honor a player, you just have like a special day where it's a day off.
It makes more sense to do it before a game or during a game, just because you have the audience there.
Right.
You market it as that, so you can raise the prices a bit.
But then you jinx your own team. But
oh well, it's a long season.
Speaking of long seasons, MLB news.
Right around the corner.
Yep, exactly. You want to take it over? You got it. I just wanted to do the transition. Cause that was a good transition.
It's getting there. It's good. We're really good.
We're getting better at transition.
We're improving.
Yeah.
But the Rays and Ahmed Rosario agreed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. We're going to speed run this. The Nationals are no longer for sale, according to their owner.
What?
Holding on them. So if you wanted to be a Nationals owner, Vinny, you got to wait a couple more years.
I definitely had those millions of dollars laying around to buy the Nationals.
You just gotta mark it off as college loans to each college in the U.S. and then compile it to buy the team. That'll work. It can't go wrong.
Well, yeah.
They told me it would go wrong, but it can't go wrong.
Listen to Logan.
Life savings, borrow everything, insane 12-leg parlay, hit it, buy the Nationals. Done. It can't go wrong.
Have you seen the?
It can't go.
Have you been scrolling on TikTok and it's like, it wasn't never about the $1 trillion. It was about a $1 trillion parlay.
Yeah, it's like first thing you do with $1 billion, 1 billion parlay. Why have $1 billion? We can have 4 quadrillion. Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
he spoke right to my heart. I was like, that adds up.
I think it was like $1 million right now, or shoot a game against Tiger Woods for 500 or something like that. some crazy TikToks like that. I don't know.
But let's see.
What?
Number of bets.
He's throwing in together a parlay. What? Should we do a? Oh yeah. Should we do a bets of the week?
Nah, we don't. What for what? What sport? We don't have a baseball.
Just a random sport. We pick one sport and say here's a
$1
parlay.
billion.
What do you think?
Let's just do minus 110 for each leg because I don't want to bother to fill out the legs.
Yeah.
So it's basically 50-50 bets for a 12-leg bet at $1 billion. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
The payout would be 2.3 quadrillion. Look at that. So all you got to do is convince Elon to give you $1 billion. You hit a 12-leg parlay at 234.
And you can buy
plus 234, 293 odds. Done.
And
you buy the world.
You can buy the world.
You don't need to buy the Nationals. Why stop the Nationals? You own every team in every sport.
You know Bill Gates?
You are the sport. I am the sport. The leagues aren't fixed. I am the league. If I don't like a team, they lose. Speaking of teams that feel fixed, though, the Dodgers, what the heck? But Shohei Ohtani, he homers in his first live BP. We just talked about last week that Yamamoto was impressive. Now Ohtani homers. This team's stacked. I mean, if this team doesn't win at least 2-3 World Series over the next 5-10 years, it's going to feel like a disappointment. It is. But Phillies are hoping to sign Zach Wheeler long term. They're trying to keep their team together, trying to compete with the Dodgers. And then Soto debuts, but he won't talk Yankees' future past this year. The Yankees also are trying to kind of reestablish themselves. They kind of lost their footing the last couple of years as that team to beat in the MLB, the dynasty.
Right.
So we'll see if they can get it back together, get their mojo back. Having a guy like Juan Soto does help. So we'll see. But spring training is this weekend. I'm going to be watching the Brewers game. I'll be working the track and field events for Ben here. So we'll see. But I believe the Brewers play like Saturday at 2, so maybe I'll find a way if I can possibly watch it. I got to get signed up for that again. I know last year it was free for me, being a student and all, so maybe it'll be free again. And you know what they say about free stuff, Vinny? It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Free stuff is pretty cool, he says.
Pretty good.
It's pretty cool.
Can't complain about free stuff. But you got anything else you want to close out on?
Nope. That's all that we have for now for Bot.
Oh, the Taylor Swift album? I haven't started it yet.
Boo!
I've been busy.
Can we get a boo from the back too?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I forgot all about that until you brought it up.
I do know how to record in that studio back there, so I can do that.
Yeah, you got the 1989 album to film.
1989, I arrived. No, sadly it's not that one. Sadly it's not J. Cole. Oh well.
Oh well.
It is what it is. I'll just have like a million features on Taylor Swift album. I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna make it my own thing at this point.
All right. Anyway.
Anything else you got?
No. Nothing else.
Nothing closing?
Except for why you should join Ben, but
yeah. Yeah, feel free to check out the rest of the YouTube page. We got plenty of great content. We're trying to keep it going. If you have anything you want us to talk about, like a sport,
drop a comment down below.
We're always willing. We could make this a Korean basketball show. Of course we could.
Yeah, we could fly out to Korea.
I already bet it. Why not talk about it?
We could go out to Korea, film some stuff for Bison Overtime.
Right. Yeah, we'll get that funded. But.
Hey, it's our last year. What can they do?
Exactly. What they can do? Stop us? Say no? No.
Well, anyway, that's all we got for Bison Overtime, and we will see you next week.
Maybe we'll have a draft.
Maybe
I feel like we should wait.
We could wait a little bit, but
we'll see. As it gets closer, we'll ramp up. Maybe we'll do some UFL predictions over the next couple of weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do some NBA and NHL playoff predictions.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll be back here next week to see if Vinny loses all of his money betting 8-leg parlays that won't hit, and we'll see if I can actually win some bets that are supposed to hit. A tale of two bettors. That's what we got though for this week.
Not Bison Overtime. It's tale of two bettors.
Yeah, betting overtime. We'll see you next week on Betting Overtime. I'm Logan Guenterberg signing off with Vinny Anderson. Take care.
See y'all.
Have a good weekend. Enjoy the warmth, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.